Welcome back to the GSMC Baseball Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Moving into our fourth segment here today, which is going to be talking about Ryan Weathers and his pretty incredible season so far for the Miami Marlins and just the impact he has been having on his team. So, let's get into it. So, Weathers this year has been one of Miami's most consistent starters, and really no one has expected that. Last year, he came over in a very minor trade. The Marlins ended up trading first baseman Garrett Cooper for Weathers from the Padres. Padres got a depth first baseman, and the Marlins got a former top prospect of an arm who really had not done that great in the major leagues and was kind of trying to find his way. Kind of a nothing trade that no one really thought the most of, but Weathers has done outstanding this year for the Marlins and done really, really well. So he's had 12 starts, has had 38 and two-thirds innings, so 69 innings basically. No one else in that rotation has gotten more than 57, so of course 11 more innings than any other player in the team. So obviously has done very consistent there and has helped the team out in that way as well. Also, he has a 3.41 ERA, which is very great, 22.1 strikeout percentage, and a 6.9 walk ratio, rate, which is very good for league average. And his 51.5. He also has a 51.5% ground ball rate. That is also very good. Marlins manager Skip Schumacher also talked about Weathers, saying that he is one of the best. He has prepared really well for games, and he's been very impressed with how well he has done. Overall, he also talked about how in the offseason Weathers bought a TrackMan, and he kind of created his own pitching lab at home. That was a quote from Schumacher there. So it just shows the dedication Ryan Weathers has and how well he has done this year. It's showing. I think that overall Weathers has been one of the most surprising stories in baseball this entire year and has done very, very well. So I think this says a lot about both Weathers and the Marlins. So the impact Weathers is having on this Marlins team is pretty great. I mean, they still suck. I'm just going to put it out there. They're so bad. This Marlins team is horrible. But at the same time, you at least have one bright spot with Weathers, and I know Marlins fans have been taking notice. I've seen on social media that they have noticed how well he has done, and he's just really been a great player overall. So props to him, and good job with how well he has done this year. So I think that overall Weathers has been an outstanding piece for this Marlins team and really has been a bright spot on such a cloudy, dark, horrible season for this Marlins team, and props to him for how well he has done this year. Now, I also want to talk about how well the Marlins organization has done over the past few years with developing these kind of guys, because Weathers brings back a lot of memories to a guy we've talked about a few times on this show now, Jesus Luzardo. Luzardo was a former top prospect with the Washington Nationals, then got traded to the Oakland A's, and never really caught on with the A's, never really did that well, even though he was a top prospect with them, never really was able to find his footing with that team, and wasn't really a bust per se, but just, again, never lived up to the expectations that were placed upon him. But he got traded to the Marlins, and people thought, okay, you know what, this is kind of interesting. I remember people saying that he was very similar to Trevor Rogers, according to Baseball Savant, who was also one of the Marlins pitchers who they made very well. So if any team could help out Luzardo, it could be the Marlins helping him be a good pitcher. And look at this now. He's one of the better pitchers in all of MLB and is going to be at a Hall of deadline for this Marlins team. And you get Weathers, and you kind of do the same thing. A former top prospect like Luzardo was that fizzled out with his team. Instead of the A's, it was a different California team. The Padres get traded there for a rental piece, Garrett Cooper. Luzardo got traded for a rental piece in Marte. And Starling Marte, obviously Starling Marte is more significant than Garrett Cooper, but still kind of similar in other ways. So, yeah, I think that overall this shows a lot about the Marlins organization and that there may not be a great vision here, but they still know what they're doing with pitchers. And you're seeing it with Luzardo, with Weathers. They know how to develop good young pitchers and make them better than what we thought. They know how to end up making them into good pieces for a team, and that's a really big positive. There's not a lot going for this organization, and the fact that you're able to do these things to young pitchers is very good and shows that they have a lot of pitching prowess in this organization. I mean, we've seen it already with Trevor Rogers, with Sandy Alcantara, with Yuri Perez, drafted Noble Mayer, who I'm sure will develop great as well. So they cannot develop a hitting prospect for the life of them. They cannot make good decisions with the hitting. We've seen it with Avisel Garcia. Development we've seen with Jacob Berry as well. J.J. Ledet, who is killing it in Oakland actually, so maybe they're more showing their fault there. But overall, I think that there's a good start here for this Marlins organization, being able to develop young pitching, being able to develop these good players, and it's a good sign. And if I was a Marlins fan, I'd be excited about that and excited about the future. Now, I think the question we have to ask with Weathers is, will the Marlins trade him? We haven't heard him connected in many trade rumors involving the Marlins, but at the same time, I think that he could be a piece that teams look to get. He has a lot of years of control left. I know that. I believe it's either 3 or 4 left on the deal. And he's a very young pitcher. Still a lot of potential also left in that arm, even with the Marlins developing a lot of him. I still think there's a lot of good potential left in that arm, a lot of good pitches that you could be able to kind of work with. And I think he could be a big piece to a team at this trade deadline and end up being a big player of interest if he does end up getting shopped. It will be interesting to see if he does. I don't think he will be, just because he's younger and he is someone the Marlins could actually build around. Luzardo's almost sure to be gone because they have so much pitching depth, but you get Alcantara back, you get your Perez back, that's a really good top 3. And suddenly, if you sign the right position player, you draft the right position player, your team isn't as horrible as you think. And I think Weathers is another piece of this team that shows they know what they're doing a little bit with developing talent and making good trades, but just haven't been able to put it together with this organization. So, yeah, great season so far for Ryan Weathers, and for the Miami Marlins. Has done a great job with this team. I think is one of the biggest surprises of this entire year for baseball, and yeah, is very exciting to watch. Again, I think there's a lot to love about Ryan Weathers if you are a Marlins fan. A lot to see here and think, wow, this guy's really good. He'll be a big piece of the team in the future. So, yeah, if I'm a Marlins fan, I'm very, very excited about Ryan Weathers and the overall season he is having. Very excited about his future, and will be interested to see if he does get traded at the trade deadline, and be interested to see what his future does look like with this organization and baseball in general. So, yeah, that was our 4th segment here, talking about Ryan Weathers of the Miami Marlins and his really great season so far for them. Moving into our 5th and final segment, which is going to be talking about Kris Bryant and his contract with the Colorado Rockies, and just going over it. So, yeah, we'll be going over Kris Bryant and his Rockies career, and we'll see you after the 4th and final break. So, thank you, and bye.